Welcome, I'm Shubhangi Sharma, and this is a special segment of Finepoint because I am bringing it to you from Moscow, Russia. The flavor of the day is cutting-edge nuclear energy technology and India's Arctic entry. Let's get started. Despite the shifting tides of global power in this century, the partnership indoors is one of India's most reliable ones. In fact, the story of India's strategic autonomy is incomplete without Russia. Through crisis and churn, the partnership has adapted rather than faded. In 2025, although Russia is no longer the Soviet Union and great power dynamics have often pulled the two apart, Moscow still occupies an important place in New Delhi's strategic planning. There's cooperation in defense, nuclear energy, hydrocarbons, diplomacy, connectivity projects, and emerging trade routes such as the Northern Sea route. Today, the relationship has evolved. India and Russia are no longer in a hierarchical equation, but as equals, they're working together as partners in the geopolitics of the future. Now, at a time when Russian oil and Su-57s grab most of the headlines coming out of this relationship, one key area that continues to power this relationship is the nuclear energy link, and we should pay attention to that. We've all heard of the Kudankulam power plant built in collaboration with Russia in India, but this is just the beginning. With Moscow hosting the World Atomic Week, I thought I should put into context some of the incredible new things that India and Russia are doing together. In Russia, nuclear energy continues to unlock new doors to sustainability and economic progress, while its premier nuclear agency, Rosatom, is also emerging as a global leader in cutting-edge technology like small modular reactors and even additive technologies, 3D printing with metal alloys at an industrial scale. The most notable takeaway I had from Russia's prime additive tech facility was one of its top officials' claim: "We can print everything, just not money." That's for the central bank. Additive technology is futuristic stuff. It's expensive but crucial for strategic industries where machine components get more and more complex, and so does the human expertise along with it. Not only does it cut production time, but it enhances accuracy. For nuclear, space, shipbuilding, strategic machine building, and other industries, this is a game changer. And Rosatom is responsible for the federal and global expansion of these operations. Now, not only is India interested in this tech, but the two countries are planning a center for 3D printers in India, while Russia even plans to eventually go the Make in India way. Bottom line is, Russia is not just claiming to be a leader in additive tech, but it is also putting its best foot forward with competitive terms and pricing. An Indian company has signed a 1.5 billion ruble contract with Rosatom to buy its 3D printers. While at the facility in Moscow, I saw a bunch of test components built for India for space research. These were printed with nickel alloy. Then there were marine propellers sprayed into existence by a 3D printer. How cool is that? But that's just one area. One of the doors that I'm talking about is the door to the Northern Sea route, one of the final geopolitical frontiers of our planet. Thawing within our lifetimes, unlocking not just a trade frontier, but a treasure trove of oil, gas, and other minerals. This is a route along the Arctic that connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, shortens distance between Asia and Europe by almost 2 weeks in comparison to the Suez Canal route. It has fewer choke points and is controlled primarily by Russia. Russia is miles ahead of other Arctic nations when it comes to icebreakers. Around 40 icebreakers with 8 powered by nuclear energy. That's the Russian fleet. This fleet is literally cutting through Arctic ice sheets to ensure the route remains open most of the year, and it is facilitating millions of tons of cargo, more than 37 million tons in 2024 alone. This is a number that keeps growing every year. This is trade by passing warmer sea routes and choke points like the Gibraltar Strait, Suez Canal, and the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. These are all subject to geopolitical caveats and sometimes technical challenges. Add to this the small modular reactor, a cutting-edge breakthrough in nuclear energy production, and where Russia has expertise building some of the world's first such reactors.
It already has a floating nuclear power plant called the Academic Lomonosov with 2 small modular reactors or SMRs which have been in commercial operation since 2020 in Pevek.
And its first land-based SMR is coming up in Ingushetia. Why this matters is because India too is interested in building such small modular reactors and has expressed special interest in the floating nuclear power plants, or the FNPPs, to cater to coastal areas and its remote geographies like Lakshadweep and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This is where connectivity, nuclear energy, and additive technology all come together to boost nuclear energy ties. Nuclear-powered icebreakers are traversing the Arctic to keep the lanes open for longer periods of the year, while small modular reactor technology is promising to replace coal and power up Arctic towns. In Siberian Pevek, Russian officials say that the snow was dark in shade because of the coal power generation. But since they went nuclear with the floating nuclear power plant on their shores, the snow went back to white. The dynamics have shifted. India is a key customer and it chooses Russian inputs where they are cost-effective and strategically valuable, while Russia treats India as a major non-Western market and a pivotal voice in the BRICS, the SCO, and the overall global South. This is evident at every meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin, as the two leaders make sure to discuss things like the Northern Sea route to bring together interests in a new realm. Russia actively courts India as an Arctic partner, holding the door open for India's Arctic entry. But India is more than just a customer, it's a builder, and it's ready to build now.
We already have a very big turnover by the sea between Russia and India. And this turnover is going up. So the trade between our countries is profitable and effective for both our countries. Also, the decades of cooperation also is a very big fundament of respect and trust. We see a very big potential for this cooperation for Arctic project with the Indians. It's a very safe road for trade between our countries. Because if we see that the relationship between countries very unstable today. So the Northern Sea road is something very stable, very safe. It's more complicated, but it will be less and less complicated. And also we see a very big potential in shipbuilding, in Arctic shipbuilding with India. And I see a very big mutual interest.
In fact, India is already in talks with Russia to develop non-nuclear icebreakers worth hundreds of millions of dollars.
The relationship is therefore not just about affinity, but also about a bundle of interests that fit just right. India and Russia are partnering just not for the present, but for the future. And nuclear energy cooperation and everything around it are forming a strong foundation for this relationship.